Welcome to another Thursday night Bible study, brought to you as a ministry of SIGBC.
And we're going to be looking today at an interesting passage in the book of Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 26, on God's desire that we bless one another. See, God desires to bless us, and God desires that we be a blessing, and so God desires that from our heart we desire to bless one another. And so, just after giving 21 verses worth of admonition to the Israelites concerning their dedication to God and their expression of dedication through what became known as a Nazirite vow and the various things that were required of those taking a Nazirite vow, whether it be men or women, God told Moses how he was to bless the children of Israel. And in looking at these blessings, there are four key words that we want to contemplate before observing four things from this passage. And the four key words are the Hebrew words bless, or barak, which means to praise, adore, or salute. So God is telling Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to salute, or to praise, or to adore, or to bless. In other words, to extend God's blessings on the children of Israel. So barak, to praise, adore, or extend salutations. The second word is the word to keep. The Hebrew word is shamar, and that means to guard, to take heed to, or to take care of. So the cry is that God would guard us, take heed to us, and take care of us. And then the third word is the word gracious, the Hebrew word konan, and God being gracious to us has to do with him showing kindness, showing consideration, directing his favor toward us, or having mercy on us even. That's being gracious. And of course, the fourth and final word that we're looking at tonight is the word shalom, or peace. And that has to do with safety, with being happy, with being healthy, and being prosperous. And so when we have peace, we don't just have the absence of conflict or war. In peace, we have the calm assurance that in God's care we are safe. We can be protected in our health, in our possessions, in our relationships with one another, and we can have peace. That is, we can have the calm assurance that God will never leave us nor forsake us. And so we read Numbers chapter 6, verse 22 through 26, again, after he has already just taken the first 21 verses of this chapter to give the criteria for and regulations concerning those who would take a Nazirite vow, that is, take upon themselves voluntarily a special vow of dedication of themselves to God. And of course, you know, part of that has to do with not cutting your hair and not drinking anything, not drinking wine, or actually eating anything related to the vine. Now he says to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless or salute or express adoration to the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The first observation we make here is that the assumption was that it was God's plan to bless the children of Israel. And his blessing was to be expressed, in the case of Israel, through the priesthood. In other words, the priest, being God's representative, were to express God's desire for blessing and peace toward the children of Israel. And so then we have three other observations. The first blessing, the second blessing, and the third blessing. So after, in verse 22 and 23, he says, the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them. Now he's going to give these three types of blessings that Aaron and his descendants are supposed to proclaim on the children of Israel. The first blessing, that God would bless and protect the children of Israel. And so he uses the word barak, that God would extend his salutations to them, and shamar, that he would guard, take heed to, and take care of the children of Israel. So he begins, the Lord bless you and keep you, in verse 24. The second blessing was that God would smile upon them and be abundantly kind to them. So he says in verse 25, the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. And that word gracious, as we observed a minute ago, is the word kanan, which means to show kindness to show consideration for, to direct favor upon, or even to have mercy upon, even though undeserved. And so the Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. That God would smile upon them and be abundantly kind to them was the second blessing. And then the third blessing, that God would be watching over them and give them a life of peace that is truly a contented and calm life. And he says in verse 26, the Lord turn his face toward you, that is, the Lord look over to you and be watching out for you, and then give you a sense of peace. Peace in the knowledge that God is always with us. In the New Testament, the promise is, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, I will not fear what man can do to me. See, the Lord, as the Lord is watching over us, that knowledge that he is, as Jesus said before he went back to heaven, when he was giving the Great Commission, he said, lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. And so that truth, that the Lord would turn his face toward us and as a result give us peace, means that we can rest assured that God is watching out for us in the most difficult of circumstances that we find ourselves in. And so we see the four truths from this passage. The first being the assumption that God's plan was to bless the children of Israel, and by extension in the New Testament, his church. And the three blessings that were to be given were that God would bless and protect his children, that God would smile upon them and abundantly be kind to them, and then the Lord would be watching over them and give them a life of peace.
Thank you for listening. You can also join us in person or live on Facebook every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Japan time. This has been a ministry of Sakahogi International Grace Baptist Church.